Hey, guys, I am Debonair, and you know me as the host here of this channel known as Indie Year, a show where we try to get your game up and running as fast as we possibly can. Today, we are discussing the number one most important thing for game developers to actually have in order to get their games finished. If that sounds like something you're into, you know what to do. But if somehow you just don't know what to do, I'm going to tell you. Rate, comment, subscribe, upvote, follow, hit the notification bell so you know as soon as I put my newest content out. But most importantly, please do share. All right, so today, I'm going to tell you the number one thing that is allowing me to get my game finished and to figure out problems swiftly. I'm talking about, like, as soon as I'm like, all right, I want to do XYZ, then I can execute XYZ. For instance, to yesterday, all right, because it's not today, but yesterday I was working on my game, and there is a feature in my game called the custom gauge, and inside the custom gauge it has to fill up. Now, I could have taken the liberty of trying to learn how to code, right? Trying to learn how to implement this all by myself. Fortunately, I'm using BuildBox, the number one codeless solution for developing video games. And yes, it is geared towards more hyper casual gaming. But ultimately, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do with BuildBox with just a few tweaks, all right? And so, within BuildBox, they already have something called the health bar. They already have that programmed in there, and you can place that on any object that you want. I had placed it on a character previously, but then I wanted to place it on, or I wanted it to act as a custom gauge that fills up over time during a specific part of gameplay, specifically the battle during the gameplay. And because the custom gauge needs to fill up, I just said, hey, why not make it, or why not use it as a health bar, right? Why not have it be the health bar? I name it whatever I want and have it fill up, or heal, right? Have it fill up over time, over the allotted time that I want. And voila, the health bar was created. It didn't function initially as specifically like I wanted it to, but with a few tweaks, I got my health bar, or I got my custom gauge looking flawless. I'm going to show that to you guys right now. So it's so amazing, because to me, these things are the same. So my character used to have a health bar inside of him, or it used to be visible, but it's not visible anymore. It is inside of him, but he really doesn't need it anymore. But I keep that there just for copying and pasting purposes. All right. Now, if we go back to the battle, and we go to the UI, as you can see, we have a health bar there. That's my character health bar. And then we have my custom gauge here. That is another health bar with different functionality, right? And so, I need to get to the point, guys. You must have a library. What is a library for the game developer? The library is the number one tool. It's the number one tool that's going to allow you to execute with tremendous speed when it comes to either learning how to make what it is that you want, or when it comes to executing what it is that you want. You see, the library basically determines what you're going to know, right? Because I know how to do what it is that I know how to do mainly because of my library. My library has a bunch of different, what are the words for it? A bunch of different projects, right? A bunch of different projects that I have played with that have different bits and pieces that when I look at them, I think, hey, I can use that. I can use that right now. And or I can use that later, or I see where that could be implemented. Today, I actually, or not today, a while back, I downloaded something, but today I'm going to experiment with it. I need an inventory system. So there is a game developer who goes by the name of Smart Penguin, who has an inventory system. But of course, I'm going to have to type it. He doesn't let you download it. Do I feel like typing? Not necessarily. Okay. However, if the inventory system that I'm about to attempt to implement doesn't work, then yes, I am going to have to type it. All right. But in the meantime, I'm going to look at this other implementation of an inventory and see the code and see a way if there's just some copy and paste, man. Copy and paste, man. Copy and paste. I love that. And so I'm going to use that to see if I'll be able to use that one instead, tweak it, move some things around and things of that nature. As you're seeing right now on the screen, it is the game in question. All right. We are on what I consider to be the page, right? The section where you get to have your own helmet and clothes, and you get to customize your character as much as you want. After that, we make sure we use a weapon. So we got a weapon on. Okay. And then next we're going to the area where we walk around and things of that nature. Okay. After we're walking around, if we get too close to one of the enemies, you can still blast the enemy. Yeah, you can still blast an enemy. Okay. But if we get too close, right? Or if once we add enemy attacks, then if the enemy hits you, you got to deal with this. And so then you can move. And then we also have blasting. All right. And then this is my custom gauge. It activates a different scene when I press on it. Boom. And then now we're waiting. All right. Here is going to be where you pick some items. After you pick those items, you'll be ready. And then they'll start all over again. That custom gauge is the same thing as the health bar, just with different properties. And this is because of my library. Library is basically all the assets and all the code that you have available and at your disposal in order to execute on the things that you want to do in your video game. It is the #1 way that all the biggest developers get their games actually done. I mean, if you ever notice, most of the game developers that finally have a game on Steam or the Google Play Store or the App Store or wherever video games are available, these are not first-time developers. And the reason why is normally on your first time, you don't have that big of an asset library. You don't really have that big of a code library, right? You don't really have it. And downloading it from off of the web, like downloading a bunch of stuff from off of the web, doesn't mean anything, right? Because you have never used these things. You've never used that code. You don't know how it's going to be messed up. You don't know what tweaks you're going to desire to make. For instance, in my character right now, there are these nodes here that help me get like a first-person character movement type thing going. So basically, when my character turns, his directional movement, his forward directional movement is now the actual forward. Okay, so basically forward is always changing in response to the way my character is facing. That was not always the case. Normally, when you first use BuildBox, the joystick is set to where wherever your character moves, it's going to move right and left and up and down relative to what your starting position is, #1, and #2, your joystick doesn't move around with that. So I had to find a way to do this, and fortunately the BuildBox community is full of individuals every day striving to make the best games that they possibly can, and I was able to download this type of movement here with these 3 yellow custom nodes. But you see this vector move node right here. Let's zoom in on that. This vector move node only had an input and an output. Okay, I had to take what they give me, right, with the template that they gave me, and then I had to place everything on here. I had to place the is moving, right, left, forward, backwards, and idle. I had to place those all on, and then after I implemented that, I had to go and implement it or change the code. And as you guys can see here on the screen, I'm hoping that you can see here on the screen, but you'll see logs here. These logs are me trying to figure out a way to make everything work. So I'm trying to figure out, 1, what's going to break, 2, how does it break, 3, what does it mean? And 4, how can I manipulate it to do what it is that I wanted it to do? And as I said, I don't know any code, okay? I just know I can copy and paste some stuff to get some stuff to work. That's it. So, what I'm saying here is enjoy the time that you have with your game, okay? Enjoy the time you have with your projects, and understand that as you build a better library, as you know what parts do what and how to work with what and what it is that you will need to execute specific features in your game, you will have a bigger library, and eventually you definitely will release a game. And if you want to know how to release a game, please make sure that you subscribe so that you can get all that information and more here on the only channel where we get your games up and running as fast as we possibly can. I don't know what we're going to do in the next video, but I do know that you will enjoy it. Until next time, see you later.